Okay, this is a really wonderful meeting. I am so glad that you're all here. And the first pair of speakers, or I guess there's three of you now, are the Hamburghs. We've had Jeremy and Alana come and speak to our group before. Their program is My Best Social Life. It's a wonderful program that they've been operating out of Irvine for several years now. And I wanted to invite them to come and share how the program's going and help you understand it as a way of helping you start a dating life. So hi, Jeremy. Hi, Alana.
Hi.
Hello.
Mia has been very loud for the last few minutes, so I think there's a very good chance that that this will be just me. Just so you know what? How about Mia? Just say hi to everybody, and Alana say hi to everybody, and
Oh, we're in and out of the hello.
all right.
I can see everybody.
I'll do this I'll do this on my own. All right.
Good to see everybody.
Mia had a lot to say. Yeah, so I'm Jeremy Hamburgh. That's my wife, Alana. Judy, thanks a million for everything that you do and for having us here all the time. And so we run a program that is like anything anywhere in the world. It's called Social Life 360. And the pictures that you're looking at right now are really special to us because clients sent them to us. They are pictures of our clients hanging out with each other and building friendships with each other. And what's really cool is that we didn't ask them to hang out together and we didn't even help them hang out together. What we did is we brought them into our community and we taught them our strategies for meeting new people and we taught them how to plan fun hangouts and dates. And our clients use all of that to start building real friendships and relationships. The reason why so many of our clients are building friendships and finding dates and starting relationships, and they're doing that after really struggling for a lifetime, is because our Social Life 360 program does things differently than anything that you've ever seen before or done before, unless you've done something with us here at OCASG. Why? Because we listened to what our clients told us about what they wanted, and they told us what they didn't want, and we listened. Our clients said that they wanted to learn when it's convenient for them so that they don't get stressed out by more appointments. They said that they want to be with people who are learning the same thing, so they feel like they're not doing this alone. They said they want to learn in a place where they're comfortable and they don't want to sit in a classroom for an hour or two and get a whole lot of information sort of dumped on them all at once. So everything about Social Life 360 was created by our clients for our clients. And that's why we say that it's really not like anything that you've ever experienced before. But before I tell you a little bit more about why our client in New York, Bradley, tells everyone that Social Life 360 is magic, I'm just going to take a few moments to introduce myself and Alana and why we make Social Life 360 our life's work. Alana, do you want to take a second to introduce yourself? And I'll hold her for a moment. All right, let's see if we can make this happen. Give me the baby.
Hello. Okay. Hi. Glad I couldn't be here for a few minutes. So as Jeremy said, I'm Alana Hamburgh, and I spent 16 years as a teacher in New York City public school system. And my focus was special education. So I worked with students on achieving their full potential. And back before this little one was even a thought in anybody's mind, I met Jeremy and he asked me to sit in on his client weekly community call. And I got to see something really amazing. And it was a group of autistic and neurodivergent adults coming together and celebrating. And it was just the most uplifting experience I've ever experienced. And as Jeremy likes to say, I came, I fell in love, and I never left. So here I am, and I am now the Director of Education for the Social Life 360 program, and I love it. I get to spend my days decoding the social world and recoding it in a way that makes sense to the neurodivergent brain, using formulas and diagrams and step-by-step instructions. So that is a little bit about my journey, and I will give it over to Jeremy. His journey is a little bit different.
Just a little bit. So I am the founder of My Best Social Life and the Social Life 360 program, but I actually started as a lawyer. I spent 7 years in the Chase Bank legal department and 7 years before that as a criminal prosecutor in New York City, where I specialized in financial crimes. And it was around the time that I was finishing law school that and we'd get like 100 or 200 people to our events, but they weren't really like connecting with each other. So, people who were coming to the event started asking me, hey, Jeremy, how do you walk into events by yourself and walk out with a date or walk out with a group of friends all the time? And my answer was honestly, like, I have no idea. And they said, well, you have to figure it out. So I spent the next 3 years reading everything that I could about what makes two people click, what makes them spark a connection. And I combined that with the skills that I was developing as a young prosecutor, because, after all, when you think about a criminal prosecutor, you think about someone who projects confidence and who asks good questions and tells a good story, right? So, what I found over the 12 years is that there isn't much difference between winning over a jury of 12 and winning over one person in a social setting, because people just want to be around someone who is confident and interesting. And that's true whether you're in a courtroom or whether you're at a party or a singles event. So people always ask me, well, how did I end up working with autistic and neurodivergent people? Um, well, after 3 years of doing all this reading, a community center in New York City invited me to run workshops for people who feel like awkward in social situations and who want to feel more confident. And my workshops were so popular that they invited me back like a half dozen times. And what I didn't know was that the community center was also home to 3 special needs organizations. And a lot of the people who were coming to my workshops were autistic or neurodivergent. And they loved the workshops so much that these organizations actually started inviting me to do the workshops for them too, which I did. And I ended up spending 3 years as the dating, friendship, and relationship coach for the adaptations program at the Silver Center for Diverse Abilities. And while I was there, something really, really cool happened. My workshops inspired an award-winning film. The movie was called Keep the Change. If you haven't seen it, it features 2 autistic actors who were actually in my dating program, David Polanski and Samantha Olisafon. And it's a fictional story about them meeting at an autism support group and starting a romantic relationship. And it won the best film at the Tribeca Film Festival, which is like a huge honor. And I am so darn proud that it all started in my dating workshop. And something really important to remember is that the movie came out years before Love on the Spectrum, right? And shows like that. So seeing autistic people on screen and dating was such a novelty. And I felt very, very strongly that it shouldn't be a novelty, right? Everybody should have the opportunity for love and friendship. So I dedicated my career to cracking the code to social success for people whose brains are wired differently. And as I said, I knew my approach needed to be different because I was meeting all these autistic and neurodivergent people who had spent their whole lives going to social skills classes and social groups, and now they're adults and they still don't have the friends and the dates and the relationships that they wanted. So this is really important to us. The reason why our clients are so successful at finding community, at making friends, at finding dates, at starting relationships is because we are not a social skills class. Okay. We are a combination of strategy and mentorship and community all wrapped into this beautiful 16-week program that gives you what you need to radically change what your social life looks like and what your dating life looks like, even if you don't have much of one right now. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about how we do that. Our clients said that they want to go into social situations feeling more confident. So the first part of Social Life 360 program is about exactly that. It's about empowering what we call your inner superhero. So you'll learn how to start quieting down the negative voices in your head that are keeping you stuck. and will help you turn your strengths into superpowers that you can use to wow new people. And something really subtle but powerful will help you start thinking about socializing in a way that takes away some of the fear so that you're not worried about being judged and rejected, and you could be more excited about meeting someone new, about meeting a new potential partner. So creating a confident inner superhero is the first milestone. Okay, so now you have some confidence in yourself and you have some confidence in your skills, but you don't want to waste time on people who don't belong in your life, right? So the second part of Social Life 360 is all about understanding who belongs in your life and who doesn't. So you'll learn about what makes a true friend, what makes a true romantic partner, what will bring you happiness in a relationship, because it's easier to find what you want when you know what you're looking for. So we'll go deep into that. And you'll also learn how to spot toxic people, because you don't want anyone in your life who's going to make you feel bad about yourself. And since I'm a former prosecutor and Alana is a former special ed teacher, this is also where we will talk with you about how to keep safe, because so many of our clients are worried about crossing an invisible line, and they're worried about getting in trouble, and we'll help you make sure that you don't. So deciding who will make you happy and who you want to find is the second milestone in our program. Then the question is, can you meet these people, right? And how do you win them over when you do? So the next part of Social Life 360 goes deep into that. And you'll start using our strategies for where to find new people, whether that's to make friends or find a date or both. And that's huge, right? You know, figuring out where to go is a game changer. But then you need to focus on actually meeting someone there and having a conversation with someone and asking them to get together again, whether that's for a date or a hangout, right? So this is where we help you build what we call your mental library. And anyone who's met with us through OCASG knows that we talk a lot about mental library. What is it? It's a collection of great questions and great answers and great stories, so that you always have something to ask and you always have something to say, and you know it's going to be interesting and genuine because you built it. It's your mental library and we helped you create it. And our clients will tell you, having a mental library and knowing that you can start a conversation and knowing that you can keep it going, that's the difference between walking into a room and having your mind go blank because your heart's racing, and walking into a room knowing that you belong there. That's where confidence comes from. But then our clients had a great question. How do I know if the person I'm talking to is actually interested in me? So that's where we go next, right? And you'll learn some really cool shortcuts for figuring that out. Because when you know that the other person is interested in you, then you can take the next step and make plans to ask them out on a date or make plans to hang out, right? And something that's, I think, really, really cool, maybe one of the coolest things, flirting. Um, I spent 15 years figuring out how to break down flirting into a formula. Okay. So you know that that fear that you have of flirting, like you're going to cross that individual line and someone's going to get mad at you. We solved that. That's not going to be a problem anymore because we decoded it and we turned it into a formula. And when you understand how to flirt, you can take your dating to the next level. And our clients love that. So demystifying body language and flirting is the fourth milestone. And now you've met someone and they're interested in you and you're interested in them. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. Okay. What do you do next? Like, when do you text them? What do you text them? Should you call them? What should you say? And a lot of people get stuck here because they don't know what to do and they don't know what to write. And they are deathly afraid of writing the wrong thing, which quite often they do. So we'll fix that too, right? We will teach you when to text someone so that you're getting the timing right. We'll teach you what to text them and what to say. And we do that because we want you to be able to press the send button without feeling like you're going to mess something up. We want you to feel confident that you are writing the right thing. And after that, we'll teach you how to plan a first date. We'll teach you how to avoid any last minute freakouts. Because the more confident you are on a date, the more likely that you're going to get to a second date and a third date and a fourth date and into a relationship. So those are the 5 milestones that we work on in Social Life 360. That's what we will work on with you if you become part of it. And the way that we work on it together is super, super important. So I want to talk about that for a few minutes. Our clients said that they want to work on dating when it's convenient for them, and they don't want to spend, an entire evening driving to a lecture and sitting through, a social skills class in a classroom. So all the strategies, all the skills in those 5 milestones, we broke them down into a series of short training modules that you can watch whenever you want, wherever you want, and as many times as you want. And they are designed for the neurodivergent mind so that you don't get overwhelmed. You can listen to the modules, you can read the text on the screen, you can do both. And as Alana said, you're going to love that we have decoded so many aspects of the social world into formulas and diagrams and checklists and step-by-step instructions. And we can't tell you how many times a client will come to us and say, I get it now. I get it. And then that goes into your strategic action plan, which is a Google Doc that we give you so that you have your strategy with you and you can look at it whenever you want it, whenever you need it. And that's really cool. And Alana and I will coach you. We will mentor you the entire time. We'll have some private coaching sessions together and we'll celebrate your wins and we'll talk about what you need to do to get to the next level. And we'll decide step by step during our private coaching sessions how to make that happen. And every week during the 16 weeks, we'll invite you to our community call where our clients share their celebrations from the last week. And I do a little bit of coaching. And it's really it's an amazing time because when you see the other people in Social Life 360 going on dates and hanging out with each other and making new friends, you know that you can do it too because they are doing it. Okay. And this is really, really cool. In between private coaching sessions and in between the community calls, you can email Alana and me with questions as often as you like. I coached our clients on our wedding night. Alana coached our clients from the hospital bed when she was giving birth to Mia. And it feels really, really good when there's something that's on your mind, something that's bothering you, something that you have a question about, and you know that we are here to help you and that you are not doing this alone, even if it's a Sunday. And Alana will also do mock dates with the guys, especially the ones who are straight. I will do mock dates with the women or guys who are LGBTQ. And the mock dates are amazing because then you're prepared when you're on a real date with someone that you like. So it's really amazing practice so that you're ready when you need to be ready. We also mean it when we say that you're not doing this alone, because not only are we with you, Alana and me, but you'll be a part of our community of clients too. Our clients are all over California. They're all over the United States. They're even in 4 foreign countries. And the very, very first thing we'll do when you join Social Life 360 is we're going to introduce you to them. Okay. And it's wild. You are literally going to start getting messages from all over the place, literally within moments of joining. And you can then just dive right in. You can start chatting with all these people around the country and in different parts of the world about whatever you like and whatever's on your mind, whether it's dating or movies. It doesn't matter because it's your community now. And so, whether you love music or movies or video games or anime or Legos or bar trivia or Marvel or Comic-Con, whatever you like, there's almost definitely going to be someone in our community who loves that too. And that is so awesome. So that is Social Life 360. It's why our clients start going on dates and they start friendships and they build relationships It's why I'm not a lawyer anymore. It's why I work 7 days a week. It's why Alana is not in the classroom anymore. This is what we love. This is our life's mission. And so if you think you might want to be a part of all this, the next step is actually really simple. We're going to help you schedule a free strategy session for you and your family. It's really eye-opening. People tell us all the time how inspiring it is. One of our amazing colleagues, either Cecile or Chantal, will take about 90 minutes to get to know you and your family and talk about what you want in your dating life and your social life and where you might be getting stuck. And if we can help, we'll tell you all about how we will help you. And then you can decide if you want to join Social Life 360. So if you want to talk about that, Alana and I want to do something a little bit differently than we've done before. So if you have a moment, take out your phone or open up an email. And what I want you to do is I want you to type my email address, jeremy@mybestsociallife.com, into the chat. And if I can figure out where the chat is, I will actually put my email address right in there. Can I do this, Judy? Can I type my email into the chat?
You. I'll put it in there for you.
Oh, wait, I think I figured it out. Okay, jeremy@mybestsociallife.com. Okay, it's in the chat. And all I want you to do, write me an email that says something like strategy session and say, hey, Jeremy, I'd like a strategy session. Please be sure to put your name in it just so that we know who you are. And then you have my promise, Alana and I will write back to you tomorrow and we will help you get that set up. So Judy, I always love being here for OCASG. Thanks a million for having me. I'm going to stick around. I hope Mia's asleep. And I yield my time to
Well, there's just one question here, so let's ask it and then we'll move on to Blake. Someone wants to know, does this program set people up with other neurodivergent people, or is it only for people who are independently looking for someone on their own?
Can you explain that? Can you just read that one more time?
I think what they want to know is, will you set them up?
We are not a matchmaking service. Okay. In fact, matchmakers reach out to us and we work with matchmakers' clients. But we have a subgroup for SoCal, and we have a subgroup for the Bay Area, and one in Philadelphia, and one in New York, and one in Dallas. So we have subgroups, but one of them is for SoCal, and all of the folks in Social Life 360 who are in SoCal are on it. And those pictures that I showed you at the very beginning, those are pictures of our clients getting together, not because we organized it and not because we told them to, but because they are part of a community of people who want to get together and they want to connect and they want to use the skills that we're learning in SL360. And I love it when our clients get together with each other. And they do it all over the country quite a lot.
Okay, we have a couple more minutes if anyone wants to ask a question right now. Okay, well, you can ask questions to Jeremy in the chat. We're going to move on to Blake.
All right, I'll go ahead and share my presentation. All right, thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Dr. Blake Warner. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm here representing the Peers for Dating program out of UCLA today. I'm a postdoctoral fellow in the UCLA Peers Clinic, as well as a Peers certified trainer. I completed my PhD with a dual specialization in clinical and disaster psychology from the University of South Dakota. And now I'm here in sunny Los Angeles. Happy to be here and happy specifically to be here with you all tonight to talk about our Peers for Dating program. All right, so just a brief overview of what we'll talk about during my section of the presentation. So I'm going to give a brief overview of peers in general for anyone who's not familiar with our programs. I'm going to talk about the role of neurodiversity within our programs. I'm going to talk about Peers for Dating specifically and give an example of one of my favorite skills, which is defining the relationship. kind of a fun skill. And then I will end by just kind of giving an overview of our clinical services in case anyone's interested in participating in any of our programs. So just to give a brief background about PEERS in general. So it stands for the Program for the Education and Enrichment of Relational Skills. And it is a social skills program broadly. And it's actually an international program. So it was developed at UCLA in 2004 by Dr. Elizabeth Lageson, if any of you are familiar. And it's now been really widespread. So it's been translated into over a dozen different languages. And the program's used in over 150 countries throughout the world. You can see some of our manuals here. And the other thing that's really unique about PEERS and that really sets us apart from other social skills programs and groups is that we have a lot of research evidence to show that what we're trying to do, what we're trying to teach and work with folks on works. So we have over 75 scientific papers that we've published through UCLA, but also with universities and research institutions throughout the country and throughout the world. So the program itself started as a social skills program for teens, for adolescents, really helping them navigate the social world, kind of decoding those unwritten rules of socializing, how to make and keep friends. We noticed there was a gap in the research, right? There's that cliff. Once you become an adult, the services just kind of fall off. And so Dr. Lageson developed the PEERS for Young Adults program to help people over the age of 18 make and keep friends. And then, of course, there's the PEERS for Preschoolers program, which is one of our newer programs. It's for 4 to 6-year-olds and can work with parents to teach them how to be social coaches, which I'll talk about in a moment. And PEERS for Preschoolers is a really fun program because it's a puppet facilitated social skills program. So a lot of fun there. And then what I'm here to talk about this evening is our PEERS for Dating research program. And I'll also just put in a slight plug for our PEERS for Careers program, which is a program focused on gaining and maintaining employment. So if you or someone you know who's neurodivergent is interested in getting a job and learning the skills to find a job, hit us up and we're happy to connect you with our PEERS for Careers program as well. A couple other unique aspects of PEERS. As I mentioned, it's one of the only evidence-based social skills programs. So we're not doing things we think work. We're doing a lot of research on our programs and looking at what people do, both neurodivergent, neurotypical people, to see how they navigate the social landscape, see how they're making and keeping romantic relationships and friends. Another unique aspect is our programs are typically parent or caregiver assisted, meaning it's not just a drop-off program where you drop your teens off or you go as an adult by yourself to learn the skills. It's very important that we're learning the skills, right, or learning what the programs have to offer. But we also teach parents or other caregivers or friends, kind of whoever fits in, to be social coaches. So we're teaching them the social skills as well, but also teaching them how to coach the skills. So if in our PEERS for Dating program, for instance, we have dating coaches. So each person who's in our program is paired with a dating coach to really work on the skills in between sessions together. The other thing that we're doing that really is important within the social skills landscape is paying attention to if people are motivated to be in the program. We don't believe that it's ethical to force social skills onto anyone. And really, we're not here trying to change who anyone is. And so we really screen out and make sure that individuals who are in our program want to be there. It's not okay for us to force any of the social skills we work on anyone. We also teach ecologically valid social skills. So once again, not just the things we think work. We know that not everyone who has great social skills is a great teacher of social skills. So we really looked at the steps followed and the rules followed by socially successful people and decoded them. We broke them down into easy steps that anyone can follow. Instead of just go up and introduce yourself, right? When we're meeting new people, we have steps that we follow and have research evidence to show that they work. And then as we're adapting this across the globe, we know that social skills are different for different communities and different cultures. And so we really look at culture when we're adapting our social skills program. For instance, in our steps for handling arguments and disagreements, when we adapted it for Canadian participants, they added a lot more "I'm sorry" in between each of their steps, because that's what they naturally do in their social landscape. We really emphasize the role of neurodiversity in peers, just meaning that people have different ways of thinking. And so every time I'm leading one of our programs, I always make sure to highlight the strengths of neurodiversity, because we believe everyone should respect the role of neurodiversity when we're learning new social strategies, and that our differences, even if they're social differences, don't make us less than or more than anyone else. We're all just different people. And there's a lot of strengths in that neurodiversity. So we really try to capture those strengths when we're working with individuals in our programs. Also important in our programs is the importance of choice. So instead of focusing on the do's and do nots of social interaction, we really have started trying to take on this neuro-affirming language and thinking about socially helpful strategies and socially risky strategies. We know that not every skill is going to work for every person. And so we know they might be more socially helpful, and there's things that might be socially risky. That doesn't mean they won't work for anyone ever, but they might be risky, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But learning or using the strategies taught in peers should not be about changing a person. We believe everyone comes in with their unique differences and strengths and challenges, but we don't want to change someone for who they are. Rather, learning the strategies we teach is really meant to help enhance social interactions so that other people can get to know you for who you are and appreciate what you have to bring to the table. But ultimately, learning or using any of the strategies in peers is a choice, right? Everything's a choice whether our participants want to use them or not. So we start each one of our lessons with this neuro-affirming pledge, just really highlighting that we appreciate neurodiversity, acceptance, and authenticity. We want people to be their true selves. And we know that people experience the world in a variety of different ways, and we respect those communication styles. And there's no one right way to connect with others. We have some tips for people that work for a lot of people, but there's no one right way to do things. And so we always let our participants know if using the strategies taught in peers make you feel like you're camouflaging or masking, or they don't align with your personal, social, or dating goals, you don't have to use them. And in fact, we encourage people not to use them if the skills aren't working for you. And so learning and using the skills taught in peers is a personal choice. All right, so that's a bit about the background of peers. I could nerd out about peers all day long, so please let me know if you want to hear more. But I want to talk specifically about our Peers for Dating research study. So I'm currently leading our clinical groups for our research, but the program for the dating study in particular is a 20-week program focused on dating skills for autistic young adults. As I mentioned, it's a peer-mediated dating program. So we have dating coaches who are a variety of different people, but a lot of undergraduate and graduate students throughout the LA area, as well as community members who are interested in working with autistic individuals. A lot of our coaches are autistic themselves as well. And the study we're doing right now is actually our second study. So we're looking at our in-person versus remote delivery group. So we're doing a telehealth group, an in-person group, and we're testing the effectiveness of each of those groups. One thing that I'll share with this group here is that once we're done with this second large study, we plan to turn this group into a clinical group, an educational group for the community. So if you're interested, I'll put my contact information at the end, and we would love to put you on our interest list. We have over 200 people right now waiting to join in our groups, so happy to add you to the list if you're interested. Some of the topics that we cover in our dating program is we start off with what we start in each of our programs is conversational skills. So we know it's foundational for friendships, but also for romantic relationships, that we learn some tips, some socially helpful strategies for conversation. We also talk about how we let someone know we like them. So we have a specific set of strategies for that, how we choose appropriate people to date. And we think about this both in general. So there's going to be kind of good and bad choices in general for people to date, but also personally good or bad choices. So if I'm someone who has a lot of sensory sensitivities, loud noises bother me, then I probably won't choose someone to date who is in a rock band, right? That wouldn't be a great choice for me. So that's something we cover in our program. We know online dating is huge. So we cover online dating pretty extensively. We have participants send us their dating profiles, and we give them research-backed feedback on their dating profiles to help them be successful. We talk about how to ask someone on a date. And then we know that dating is a choice, and we may not be successful every time we ask someone on a date. So we talk about specific strategies for accepting rejection, as well as turning someone down. Because just because someone asks me on a date doesn't mean I have to say yes. Even if I don't have a lot of dating history, I still get to be picky. I deserve to be picky with who I date. So we talk about how we can politely turn someone down for a date. We talk strategically about how to plan and go on dates, safety concerns when dating, lots of socially helpful and socially risky dating practices. We talk about what happens when you get in a relationship and you have boundaries, how to set boundaries in relationships, how to handle pressure from partners. And then we cover sexuality and things like safe sex practices for individuals who are interested in learning about those things. So that's just a smattering of what we cover in our 20-week program. Just a little bit about our timeline for our research study. If you're a research nerd, you can tune into this part. If you're not, feel free to zone out for a moment. But in our program, we started by having baseline measures. So everyone filled out the same surveys. Right now, we're in our group phase. We're currently on week 16 out of our 20-week program. We're going to ask the same questions through the same surveys at the end of the program, really to see what people learned throughout the program. And then we're going to wait 20 weeks and then ask those same questions one more time to see if the information taught and the gains made in dating skills have been keeping up since the program has concluded. And so we'll do a 20-week follow-up phase after that. And then we plan to, as I mentioned, make this a group open to the public. And so if you're interested in participating in kind of this research-backed program, let us know, and we're happy to put you on our list. I thought it would be a neat idea to kind of show an example of what our program looks like. And so I'm going to show an example here of one of our skills that's very important. Once we have been dating someone for a little while, it's really important that we define the relationship, right? We can't, it's really risky to assume you're a couple without first having a conversation about it. And so I want everyone to just watch this video here and think about what's maybe a little bit socially risky about Gabe, who is the male here, about how he's defining the relationship. So think about what may be socially risky here.
So, what is this?
What?
I mean, like, what are we doing here?
What do you mean?
Like, what are we?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
What are we doing?
Us?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know. I guess we're dating.
nice, cool.
All right, anyone want to share what maybe was socially risky about how Gabe went about defining the relationship there? You can feel free to unmute or put it in the chat.
He was vague about it.
He was pretty vague, right? He
I
wasn't very
guess he
clear.
was, I think he just didn't, I guess he was, I think the other girl was feeling uncomfortable because he wasn't like setting healthy boundaries.
Yeah, so maybe she was a little uncomfortable. You actually answered my next question. Yeah, Martin, I see your hand raised.
I don't mean to sound too rude, but I think Gabe sounds very uninterested in dating or something.
Yeah, so he was beating around the bush, I saw in the chat as well. Maybe wasn't communicating his interest. And what do you think, everyone? Is Alina, the woman there, is she going to want to date Gabe? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Probably not if he's not very clear with what he's asking her. So this is one of the strategies we use in peers, is perspective taking questions. How might the other person feel in this scenario? Right? It's a research-backed, evidence-backed strategy for teaching social skills. So this is the socially risky side of things. And then what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and present what we would recommend. If we're going to define the relationship, these are the steps that are socially helpful to follow. So the first thing we want to do is pick the right time and place. Generally, what this means is, we should probably have this conversation when we're in private, right? Not a great time to have this conversation if we're around a lot of other people, and also that we have enough time to talk, right? This is probably going to be more than a 1-minute conversation. And so we want to make sure we have enough time to talk and some privacy. We don't necessarily know that the other person has the time to talk. And so we want to check in with them, ask if they can talk. And then we want to give a specific compliment about the relationship and a specific compliment about them. The reason we want a specific compliment versus kind of a general, larger compliment is, what does it sound like I'm about to do if I say, hey there, Jeremy, can we talk? And then I say, you're just the nicest person. What does it sound like I'm about to do? Does anyone have an idea? Does it sound like I might be about to break up with someone? Yeah, exactly. Kyle got it in the chat too. Yeah, it sounds like you're about to break up with someone. So we do a specific compliment about the relationship and about them, to let them know we have positive feelings about the relationship, but we don't want them to feel like we're breaking up. So a specific compliment. We also recommend not a physical compliment. So maybe not complimenting their smile, but something about them, a personality compliment. Maybe you're always making me laugh. Yeah, Martin.
You don't know what their true personality is, even though you say you're the nicest person.
Yeah, so that's another great point, Martin. And generally, when we give, we want to, if we don't know someone very well, you're right. We want to give specific compliments because we don't know them well enough to give that general compliment. Hopefully,
Okay.
if we're asking someone if they want to be our boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, we're defining the relationship. Hopefully, we know them pretty well though. But we don't want to give a physical compliment. And then we want to assess their reaction, see if they're giving me a compliment back, if they seem interested in the relationship. And then if they do, if we're getting those signs, then we can ask how they feel about the relationship. If they haven't really shared how they're feeling, we can ask them. And if all of those signs are positive, that's when we define the relationship. That's when we ask them if they want to go steady or be my boyfriend, my girlfriend, whatever we're defining it as. And if it's negative, what do we think? Should we go ahead and continue to define the relationship? No, probably not. That's where we would remember that dating is a choice. And if someone isn't on the same page as me, they might not be a good choice. So let's watch these steps in action. So watch this video and think about what Gabe is doing that may be socially helpful here.
So, I was wondering if we could talk about something.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I've really been enjoying our time together, and you have the most amazing energy. It always puts me in such a good mood.
Oh, that's really nice of you. I feel the same way. I really love spending time with you.
Well, I was wondering what you would think about it just being us and us not dating other people.
I would really like that.
Cool. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Me too.
All right, for the sake of time, I'll skip the perspective taking questions, but here we saw Gabe follow these steps, right? He asked if she could talk, gave a nice specific compliment, assessed her reaction. It seemed like she was into the relationship. She was complimenting back. And then he went ahead and asked what he wanted, right? He defined the relationship. She agreed. And what do we think this time? Do you think they'll date? Yeah, probably so. I think she agreed to it, right? Yeah, Martin, go ahead.
Yeah, when they said they would date each other and date not other people, they would have to have a strong bond with each other, have to trust each other, and distrust the evil, pure-hearted people in our lives, because they don't want to get stalked, they don't want to encounter serial killers, they don't want to get scammed, or they don't want to end up with a former friend that they met during their school days.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's a lot of trust between them, and you're right that they seem like they're in a positive relationship and kind of defined it. I see another hand up. Yeah.
Yes, what if you just skip the compliment and said, is it okay if we talk? I just want to know what our status of relationships are at, due to the fact that they offer to give you the respect you deserve. How does that sound?
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of different ways to do things, and this is why we talk about these steps as socially helpful, right? We know these steps work in a lot of cases, but that doesn't mean if you skip the compliment that there's no way you'll find love, right? That's not what we're saying. We just know that it's helpful to kind of start this way. And then the other kind of tip that I would say is it's helpful to specifically ask for what you want. So it's okay to say, how would you feel about it just being the two of us, even if you're skipping the compliment. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Wonderful. All right, great questions, everyone. And then kind of one of our other reminders is one of our mantras in Peers is that dating is a choice for our dating program. We also talk about friendship being a choice, but for our dating program, we highlight the idea that we don't get to date everyone. There's a lot of celebrities I would love to date. Unfortunately, I don't get to date them just because I want to. But the same thing applies for everyone else. Not everyone gets to date me just because they want to. So it's okay for us to be picky, to be choosy, and decide what's a good choice for us personally. All right, I'll wrap up here in a moment, but I just want to touch briefly on our clinical services. So if you're interested in getting connected with us, we do have our UCLA Peers for Young Adults program, which is a 16-week program focused on friendship skills. It's typically for 18 to 35-ish year olds. Not a hard cutoff there though. And we do have a social coach component. So again, as I mentioned, you would be in a program and then your social coach would be with you in a separate group learning the skills and how to be an effective coach for you. We have in-person and telehealth options available. Similarly, we have our Peers for Adolescents program, which is our teenage program. 16 weeks, again, 90-minute weekly groups, so an hour and a half a week. And these are also parent-assisted for social coaches. We have remote educational classes for anyone in the world who wants to participate in our programs. Our preschool program, both in person as well as online options. The online option is for parents only. Those of you with kids, I imagine it would be very difficult for a 4 to 6 year old to sit in front of a Zoom screen and participate in a group. But our in-person groups are for preschoolers and their parents. And then just as a plug, Dr. Lageson, the creator of Peers and Peers for Dating, is on the original Love on the Spectrum show, doing one of our Peers dating boot camps. So the Australian version, the original show, check it out if you haven't had a chance. I will go ahead as well and put our contact information in the chat for anyone interested in participating in our research-backed Peers for Dating program. And there's some contact information as well.
Okay, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Blake. I want to continue moving on so we don't miss out on Thomas, and hopefully we'll have some time at the end, but I'm glad you got a lot of interaction during your session.
Yes.
So we've had Tom Iland come and speak to us before. He was diagnosed with autism at 13, and he became a CPA, and in 2015 he decided, I don't want to do that. I'm going to become a keynote speaker. And like many of the people here, he has been doing Toastmasters for a long time and is a distinguished Toastmaster. He started a life coaching organization called Come to Life Coaching. And he spoke to our group before about his book, Come to Life, Your Guide to Self-Discovery. He's spoken to the UN. He's given a TEDx talk on how to come to life. And he's going to be back here in June talking about life coaching. But I asked Thomas to come today to talk about something different, which is he is involved in offering a dating program at the Asner Family Center. And so that's what I'd like to have Thomas share with you today. Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Judy. Thank you very much for having me here today. Everybody, I'm here on behalf of the Ed Asner Family Center in Van Nuys. I am my own independent contractor, sole proprietor, whatever you'd like to call it, but I have partnered with the Ed Asner Family Center to put on the Dating Spectrum, which is a series of courses that inform people on the spectrum, neurodiverse individuals, about dating and sex ed. And we've had several cohorts over the years. I've been an instructor with them for about 3 years. We just finished another cohort last month. There were 8 sessions every week, and it was all in person. We had all virtual before that. We are now back to in person, and it was a really nice turnout. And what's unique about having someone on the autism spectrum be a co-instructor for these courses is I get to share some of my stories of success and failure in the dating world, starting with the foundation of why do you want a relationship, or what kind of person are you looking for? Because from a young age, I was under the impression that I would only be successful in a relationship if the other person also is on the autism spectrum. Then I started dating somebody on the autism spectrum, and while it seemed like we connected at first, over the years we discovered we're not meant for each other, and we ended it. And now having improved myself, gone through a lot of personal development, went to my library across the street, read a lot of books on self-help, personal development, and romance and relationships. I'm now about to marry a woman who is not on the autism spectrum, and I'm paying for the wedding with my own earned money. So I have many stories to tell. Unfortunately, so little time, but I want to focus really on what the Ed Asner Center offers and what sets them apart from dating programs that you may have heard of already tonight or in the past. So as I mentioned, someone on the autism spectrum to offer their perspective, and specifically that I am a man on the autism spectrum, because a lot of the instructors nowadays that talk about sex, for example, are women. But men, and mind you, all the participants in the last cohort we had were men, they had questions about the male anatomy. And they wanted a person who is on the autism spectrum and is a man that they could ask those questions of. And that was the value that I provided and continue to provide this particular organization. And it's always interesting to hear some of the questions that they have. For example, I had one gentleman who had the courage to ask me, so why do I have to urinate after I ejaculate? And I was able to explain to him, well, you see, you have a urethra and a vas deferens in your penis, and the transition of what happens between those particular body parts. So you think about some of the talks or lack thereof that individuals have had within their families, or maybe they learned about in high school but didn't get to apply what they learned. And they need that refresher from someone who has been in their shoes, been through breakups, been through the difficult times, the struggles. But I really believe that I am capable of finding love, and I did. Starting with finding the love for myself. I think there are too many people out there on the autism spectrum who are made to think they are no good at something, and they are going to live with their parents until one of them dies. Is that the future we should be thinking about or creating for people on the autism spectrum or neurodiverse individuals? I don't think so. And I recently incorporated into the dating spectrum, what is a man? Because in order to marry the woman who's going to become my wife, I realized I have to stop being a boy, at heart anyway, and start being a man. So we have to also show what it takes to be an adult, be responsible for what is happening to you, both good and bad, and also identify the people, the places, the situations that might be weighing you down. And I recently came out with another book called My Glass is Full, Stories of Putting Mental Health First. Because as we assess the relationships in our lives, who are the toxic people? Who are the energy vampires that make us feel like crap and put us down or are pretending to be our friends? That's happening more often than not, ladies and gentlemen. And I heard about the hero example from the previous presentation. I also have that concept in my book, Come to Life, like Who's My Superhero? But I also describe that I used to referee soccer games. And even people who do not speak can and should give signals if someone is not treating them well. Caution, I don't like how you're speaking to me. Please refrain from doing that. Stop that, or I'm not going to allow this to continue. We're going to have to part our ways. Get real. Or if it continues, ejection. You have not been listening to me. I don't feel good about this relationship or where it's going. It's time to go. Get out. And sometimes we need to have such conversations with people who are related to us. I have people in my life who do not want me to marry my fiance. And you know what I'm doing to them? I'm kicking them out, even if they're blood relatives. So I encourage you all to think about the people in your life that are really there for you versus pretending to be there for you. If you have something great happen to you, are they celebrating? Or are they thinking like, anybody could do that? Or I helped you make that happen? It's on each of us to have and hold those boundaries. It's on us to find that person who is right for us and protect that relationship. It's on each of us to determine what is our happiness. Another person is not going to make us happy. It is on us to do that for ourselves. I offer coaching for dating outside of the Ed Asner Center, and we will be starting up another cohort in the near future. I hope you will contact them for more information. I'm here on behalf of Krista Saad. She's the Director of Mental Health for the Ed Asner Family Center. I'm putting her email address in the chat so you may contact her. And Savag was asking if this is a classroom setting, a lesson plan. Yes, it is a classroom setting at the Ed Asner Family Center. There is a lesson plan that is provided to the people that qualify. All applicants are vetted. And do you teach all these things and or need people to ask you a specific question? I'm not sure if I understood that last part there, Savag, but I appreciate your contribution. And we are at 8 o'clock. Questions? And Savage also asked, the first step would be to have a nice paying job. Is this correct? What if I told you even to get a job or a girlfriend or a significant other, looking at yourself first? I think we look at other places, people, or things to fix us, change us, make things better. But we have to really get down to the root of the matter of what's really bugging us or what's going to bring out the best in us. And my friends, the most difficult conversations are also the most necessary. So if you want to have a good job, a good spouse, find and create the life that's right for you, you got to do some, figuratively speaking, soul searching. And I can help you with that process. Martin, you have your hand up?
Yes, I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. When you mentioned toxic people in your life, I think you mentioned people who bullied you and people who used to be your friends. I think that's something I can relate to. So I don't ever want to. I've been bullied at school so many times, like in middle school and high school, and I choose to cut off from the bullies who were affecting my psyche so much. And you are right. You have to cut off from those bullies and be a man and not let you affect your psyche for the rest of your life, and try to be a man even if you can't find marriage. And since you found someone who really loves you very much and you love that woman, I'm very happy for you. And you're right, you have to stay away from toxic people, especially bullies, especially con artists, especially anyone who takes advantage of you. And you got a good point.
I appreciate
Actually,
that.
I have a question, Thomas.
Go ahead. I'm putting my email address in case we don't get to everybody in the chat here. Your
Okay.
question?
Well, okay. It's just for girls that are on the spectrum, how can you tell the difference between someone that's bullying versus someone who, how do you, I don't really know I found the term gaslighting from a licensed psychologist, but I'm not really familiar with the term. So
Okay. Well, I have some. Go ahead.
how can you explain it in understandable terms?
Okay.
Gaslighting.
So as far as bullying and gaslighting, watch out for people that say, I'll be your friend if.
Okay.
If you do something for me, I'll be your friend. That is not a real friend. That's conditional love. Unless you do something for me, we're not friends. That's not a real friend. Now, gaslighting has to do with, let's say you know something happened, but somebody attempts to tell you, no, that did not happen, making you doubt your own truth or reality. When you know what has happened, you know who you are, you know what you're going for, but they're attempting to talk you out of something. That's gaslighting. It's from an old movie in which a guy kept turning on a light and then turning off a light, and a woman kept saying the light was turning off, and he's like, no, it's not. So someone lying to your face, attempting to fool you. And it is difficult to identify sometimes, but when we're more mindful of that, sometimes people have ill will, bad intentions, ulterior motives, but we should not give up on our faith in humanity. That's going to help us go forward. And I believe that everything that we want in our lives will come when we change and we adapt and we evolve for the better.
So Sabak was asking if you're, I guess the Ed Asner, but and then
currently there are no virtual options
Zoom.
for the Dane spectrum. They recently identified for I think regional center or self-determination program funding, there had to be an in-person element. And so there was a full virtual cohort late last winter, but now it's only virtual. Excuse me, in person, only in person at the Ed Asner Family Center in Van Nuys. The next cohort may be different, so stay tuned for what the Ed Asner Center has planned next. And Ivan said, reminds me of how someone accused me of being a hypocrite by telling him not to say something, so I cut him off via text and their friendship. And you know what? I'm finding that, would you rather have y'all 100 pennies or 4 quarters? Sometimes less is more. You may have a lot of friends, but are they really there for you? Do they really care? Or are you looking at the quality of the people in your life, making you feel good through thick and thin? So let's all use this opportunity. And again, my book, My Glass is Full and Come to Life, are available. You can email me at the tisland83@gmail.com email address. And I do work privately, Eileen. I have several coaching clients. I work with them on job readiness, dating, also police interaction. I want to quickly drop a link into the chat here. I was recently featured in PBS's NewsHour with my work with LAPD Mental Evaluation Unit. I train their police officers on autism. Here's a link to a PBS NewsHour special with me being interviewed.
Okay, so Thomas, I think what I'd like to do next is invite back, I'm gonna spotlight Blake and also Jeremy, and I'm not sure, and Ilana is with him, and have an opportunity for some questions to the group. Let's see. Do you guys have questions for each other? What would be a good question?
And I know we're a little bit over. I ended it on time, but I want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to ask what they want here.
What difference do you find in general for each of you in providing help for girls versus guys in terms of dating? So why don't we start off with Jeremy and Ilana? Is the advice any different, or are you finding it fairly similar?
Well, the question isn't whether advice is different for men or women. The question is just, it's about advice being different for that individual dater, right? We have men who are very adept at dating and getting first dates, and they're not adept at getting to a second date. And that's very different than a man who has never been on a date or only been on a couple. And that's different from a woman who has been on lots of dates and they've turned toxic. And that's different from a woman who's never been on a date and wants to know how to do it. So the beautiful thing about Social Life 360 is we get to know our clients on a personal level, and we get to know what the goal is, what the dream is, where things are getting stuck. And then we coach to where things are getting stuck. And that's not a man-woman thing, it's a person thing.
Thank you. Good answer. Blake, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'll say that in general, I really agree with that it's less about, these gender differences that may or may not occur. Of course, there are going to be differences in general in the social and dating landscape that people have, but really it is tailored to the individual. And we find that a lot of the skills are broad enough to work in a lot of different situations for a lot of different people. Of course, as I mentioned, that not every skill is going to work for every person, but really we find that more to be individual style than a gender-based difference. So in general, I agree that we don't target different skills for different genders.
Okay, and Thomas.
And my coaching clients outside of the Ed Asner Center are currently all men. I do have a trans person. The person was born a man and is becoming a woman. And as far as dating or friendships go, my best pointers, or no matter what their gender or where they are on that particular scale or spectrum, is to be a friend first. I think we want to be so quick and desperate to date people that we're forgetting how to be friends first. And when we can master those basics, we'll be ready for more complex matters down the road. So I look at each client individually, where they are and where they want to be, to determine how I can best assist them.
I'm just going to tell everyone, if you have a question, either put in the chat or you can raise your hand and I'll call on you.
And I see the question, from Matthew, do you consider emotional vampires to be those who are overdepressed? Now, the term I used was energy vampires. Those are people who, after you speak to them, it feels like they've sucked the life out of you, or you feel like crap after speaking to that person. Like they talk to you about their problems all day, but they won't listen to yours. So those are, and they may or may not be overdepressed. It depends on their circumstances, situation, where they're coming from, but they probably need somebody to talk to, but they're not being considerate of the concept of give and take or reciprocity. I serve you the ball, you have to serve it back to me in a game of tennis, whereas this guy's serving, and that's not good.
Yeah. So I had a question about online dating. So many people advise folks to do online dating. It seems like that's the rage. What has been your experience with that? And are you seeing success from online dating, or do you see other methods more effective? Like you're nodding your head, so I'll call on you first.
Sure. So we talk a lot about online dating in our program, and we know that it's not for everyone. Everyone has a different style, but we also know that it's the top way that people in general are forming new romantic relationships in recent years, especially. I think as it's not for everyone, we do talk about how creating an online dating profile or thinking about what you would include in your online dating profile is a great way, regardless of if you're going to do online dating, is a great way for you to think about things you're interested in and also what you're interested in a romantic partner. So whether or not you're going to online date, going through the process of thinking about what you would include is something we encourage our participants to use. And then thinking about platforms that work for them. So we don't tell anyone in particular what platform they should use or what online dating app, but we know for some people they prefer neurodivergent specific dating apps. Other people might prefer, the general dating apps like Hinge, Tinder, Bumble, but it's really a personal choice. And so if people are going to online date, it's really up to them. I don't know if I got on a tangent too much here.
Thank you. Jeremy and Alana, what's your take on online dating?
Yeah, we're not fans. That's our take on it. We teach 3 paths in our program to finding potential partners, and none of them is online dating. And the reason why is because we have met thousands of autistic people who have tried online dating, and it drives them crazy. You spend years and years and years trying to figure out the hidden rules for how to pick someone and how to write a profile and how to choose the photos and what to say and how often to say it. And every once in a blue moon, you land a date and you go out with them and you realize, holy cow, I haven't worked on actually talking to real people in real life. So that is the only thing that we teach in our program. We are going to teach you how to meet real people in real life and land dates with real people who are not profiles.
And I see the question from Savaj. What about catfishing issues when being on an online date? We do discuss online dating at the Ed Asner Family Center as far as the potential and the possibilities, as well as the problems and the perils, because there are scammers and spammers out there, and a lot of them are intending to do harm, and sometimes neurodiverse individuals fall for that. So we do address that. As for me and my personal experience, and I'll assist my client where they are and where I can help with that. But I found that I met my fiance at an in-person event. It was a networking event for professional speakers. We're both professional speakers, and we both didn't want to go there that day. Her agent told her to go. I was a little hesitant to go. We went anyway. Our eyes met. We were drawn to each other. And the rest, as they say, is history. So that I want to tell you all that the magic happens at the party you didn't want to go to. And you have to go to where the action is in person. That's why I named my book Come to Life. My friends, life doesn't come to you. It's up to you to come to life. You have to go out there, put yourself out there. Even if you've been dumped or rejected time after time after time after time. Why do we fall? Alfred asked Batman. So we can learn to pick ourselves up. Who's ready to pick themselves up?
Thanks, Thomas. It reminds me when my husband and I met at a party back in the day when we were dating. They had this thing where they would, instead of computer dating, they had like a computer list. So you could ask for a list of professionals between certain ages, and then you could organize a party. It was put on by the Salter Wazel group, which was a Jewish group. And I got invited to this party, and my husband crashed the party. So his friend was invited, and he said, hey, he said I could come along, and he called another friend. They said, you should go. And it was very similar experience to you, Thomas, is that he saw me and we just stood there for 3 hours talking. So you just don't know. So, you know, we're in Orange County, although we do have Savaga's in Santa Monica, just so you know, he's near you, Blake. In terms of accessibility for this group of people, Zoom or in person, how would you recommend somebody in Orange County participate with you? So I'll start off with Thomas this time, and then we'll go to Jeremy.
So all my coaching clients are virtual. So even if you're in Orange County, California, or Florida, I will meet you online and we will discuss how best to assist you through your dating journey.
Yeah,
So
and then the Ed Asner program, they're in Van Nuys.
I'm available virtually at Asner Center, in person only.
Okay. Okay, Jeremy and Alana.
Yeah,
So
our
someone's
clients
in
are all
Orange
across the United States.
Everything we do is online.
Everything we do is online.
Do you ever do
Just not the
anything
dating.
in person since you guys are in Irvine?
Yeah, so we do a barbecue every year in Irvine, and every time we travel to a different city, we throw a barbecue for our clients in that city.
Oh,
So
that's
we
so
did
nice.
last year, or sometimes a pizza party. Yeah, so last year we did Philadelphia, New York, Washington, DC, Irvine, Bay Area. So we get to, it's fun. No matter where we go, we have clients, and then we throw them a party. So we love that.
And Blake?
Yes, we have a variety of in-person or virtual options for our groups.
So I just wanted to say, you know, OCSG meets, it's an example of a type of activity that I think you would encourage, right, Jeremy, in terms of finding the people, having the experience.
You betcha. That's why we send people to you.
Thanks. Okay, any other questions out there?
And I'm putting some last golden nuggets into the chat here. 2 really big game changers for me and my life. The reality TV show Beauty and the Geek. If you've ever heard of it, I've auditioned for it and watched it. The geeks get makeovers halfway through the season. And that's why I get good wardrobe and get my eyebrows waxed every 6 weeks like clockwork. And the books Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and How to Win Friends and Influence People, they have been game changers for me. I highly recommend you all seek those and use them how you will.
Why don't each of you take a minute and tell us one of your favorite success stories? So who wants to go first?
I'm going to go first because I was just talking to him last night.
Okay.
So I had a young man in New York on SSI. His dad died. His mom was on disability. He literally scraped and borrowed to work with me. And not only was I invited to his wedding, I was in his wedding. I was reaching out to him yesterday because I was asking him for pictures so I could put it into the presentation, but he was literally taking pictures of printed pictures. I just couldn't make it work from the album. but being, I was both a lawyer and a coach for people on the spectrum back then. And I'm at this wedding on a Sunday afternoon in Queens, New York, and I'm under the marital canopy delivering a blessing to this guy who, at the age of 40, had never even held a woman's hand. And I looked out at that group and I said, I have got to find a way to not be a lawyer anymore. I've got to find a way to do this full time and make this my life's mission. And now I have a beautiful wife who does it with me, who I met at a wedding and not online.
That's right.
Just like you folks.
Great.
But being in your client's wedding, there ain't nothing like it.
Thomas or Blake, who wants to tell a success story? Thomas.
Right. Well, I know of one client who had great difficulty breaking away from a parent. The parent was very overprotective, put a lot of limiting beliefs of their own onto this client, and it took a lot of personal strength and also a good circle of friends for this person to see they're not what this limiting parent thought they were. This parent would always see this person as a young kid instead of an evolved adult. And this person came to me and said, Tom, you helped me see that I am capable of more than even I thought I was. Thank you for believing in me. I'm able to make and keep friends because you saw something in me that my mother was unwilling or unable to. I'm so grateful for your coaching, Tom.
Thank you. Blake.
I'll share about a teenager who went through our original program back in the day, who had never had a friend, very little social interaction with others, very socially anxious, so kind of shy, very, very anxious to talk to others. The family came in together and was really worried about how things were going to go in this teen's life. And after our program, they sent us pictures from their prom. And now he's been dating this woman, and I think they are close, if not engaged. So some very exciting successes there.
That's terrific. Other questions out there?
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom.
When you are at a wedding or at a party and you see a girl, how do you know that you're gonna have a relationship? How do you become disciplined and say, okay, I'm gonna pursue this relationship and be active about it and not just be saying, okay, I'll just say hi to her and maybe she'll do the work for me, or what should I be doing next? Possibly structuring the meeting with her, organizing the follow-ups, etc.
If you're referring to the party that I met my fiance at, my fiance's name is Rosetta, by the way. So we were there and we were not expecting to find one another. And I think that's something that's interesting, how the universe works sometimes. You're so persistent, like, where's my special someone? I have to find them. But when you take a step back, stop looking, let the world work, and then there they are. So sometimes we need to have less control or let go of what we think we need to be doing and see how the chips fall where they may. And Rosetta and I, after we met that night, we became Facebook friends. I'm grateful we met each other in person first and then became social media friends. We stayed in touch over the course of the pandemic. She ended up moving back to Virginia, and she used to be here in California. Well, we stayed in touch as friends on Facebook Messenger. And one day I was going to be running an Ironman triathlon in Maryland. And I said, I think I'm going to be in your neck of the woods. Would you like to meet? So she didn't respond, but I followed up shortly thereafter. I said, you didn't respond to my text. Are you still interested? That little nudge got her thinking, okay, this guy knows what he wants. He just finished a full Ironman triathlon. I'm going to meet him. So don't be afraid to ask for what you want. Sometimes not looking may bring about what you're looking for. And you said others doing the work for you. I suggest you find a way to do the work yourself, but delegate. This is something I work on as a leader in Toastmasters, where you're in charge. You can have somebody assist you, but the responsibility, the ownership is on you.
I'd
You
like
have
to
to be responsible for
I'd
your
like
life.
Jeremy to respond to Savag, because I've heard you talk about this in the past, Jeremy, in terms of, you meet someone.
Help me understand, Sabag, a little bit more what the question is.
Basically, I'm asking, you met your wife and in the wedding, you said, how do you know that oh, I love this person, I should go after her, or what tools did you use? I mean, how did you finally meet her? I mean, there's so many people at a wedding party. Sometimes it's hard to find the right person, or how do you get the strategy or to follow up on the relationship and etc. Did she help you with the relationship follow up, or what happened?
Why don't you tell them how you
I think something that Tom said actually stands out, and sometimes you have to delegate a little bit. This is just our personal experience. There are times when you take the lead.
I'm gonna get out just because
Yeah,
of
the picture is very weird. But it just so happened that Jeremy was getting out of a relationship. I was getting out of a relationship literally the night before this wedding. But I had a friend at this wedding, and she went up to Jeremy and she asked, "Are you single?" And he said, "I will be." And he's like, "Oh," he's like, "When you're ready, let me know." And how long went by? A few months went by. Jeremy reached back out to this friend of mine who has a very big personality. And he said, "Okay, who do you have for me?" And he was living in California. I was living in New York. He's like, "Alana." She's like, "Alana." And he's like, "But she lives in New York." And she said, "You'll make it work." And Savag, we didn't know. That's the thing. You have to trust the process. You have to get to know people. And learning about people and being curious about their interests and who they are and what makes them them. And it's all about get the relationship. So we had no idea the first time that we spoke that this would be the person that we would end up with. It took many, many, many conversations and FaceTime. And it was months before we even saw each other again because we were living on different coasts. So we really just spent all that time talking. And we're like, okay, we kind of like each other. So we made plans to get together in person, but really giving people a chance and showing your curiosity about who they are and listening and opening up to them.
That's exactly why we're not a dating program anymore. I used to be a dating coach. I used to run a dating program. The thing is, when you meet people and you find community and you make friends, which is what I did with this loud random stranger, at a wedding, that is part of the dating process. Community, friendship, and dating are all on a spectrum. And that's why Alana and I spent 3 years revamping Social Life 360, because that's the reality. You can't just be a friendship program, and you can't just be a dating program, and you can't just be a community program. You don't know where you're going to meet your friends. You don't know where you're going to meet your future spouse. What you need to be doing is being around people as the best version of yourself. And as Tom said, let the chips fall where they may. But the chips will fall well when you're ready.
So Blake, I'll let you, I saw you smiling and nodding. So did you want to
Yeah,
add?
so I just wanted to highlight I know I mentioned that the number one research evidence that people are the number one place people are meeting people is online. A very close second is through mutual friends. So I wanted to highlight what you all are saying. It's very, very close. And so I agree that I think meeting a lot of different people can be really helpful. And just for a tangible takeaway for you, what the research tells us is when we're starting a conversation with someone, which regardless of if it's looking for a friendship or a date, we can kind of start in one of three ways: by asking a question, making a comment, or giving a compliment. And so thinking about those three just kind of takeaway strategies can be helpful for starting off a conversation. But I agree with everyone that most people don't go in knowing that it's going to be their life partner. It just starts with a conversation and looking for things that we have in common. I imagine Jeremy and Alana have a lot in common, that they found out that wedding night and probably afterwards too.
Yeah, I think these are all really important points, Savag, is that the best relationships are the ones where you're also your best friend. So it's not just about romantic. And how do you know someone's a friend? You get to know them, you have common interests, you make each other laugh. And when you're with that person, this is the thing I tell friends all the time. When you're with that person, you like yourself. Because if you don't like yourself when you're with that person, then they're not the right person for you. So you shouldn't be changing for someone or being somebody different. You need to feel good about yourself. And you find that out by getting to know them, having them getting to know you, and building a friendship. And if you're lucky, that friendship may turn into something romantic, but it doesn't always. It may be that they're a best friend for life, which is of a tremendous value.
I
Well,
like, for instance, like my brother is very organized. When it comes to meeting his friends, I don't have that same capability. You know, it's thanks to the Zoom meetings, I'm able to meet people and actually have my social life. It's very helpful for me because there's a schedule involved, and I just simply follow the schedule. I don't know how to make my own schedule. I don't know how to follow up. It's kind of tricky for me because I just don't have. I don't know if I have it in me or whatever. All that it helps. Social Zoom meetings helps me out tremendously, I think.
yeah, but Sabag, you know, I have seen you grow over the years that I've known you. I mean, we got to know each other at the beginning of COVID, and so you were living in a remote world. And one of the things that you're part of is Toastmasters. You're part of the Neurodivergent Toastmasters. You're part of the Gavel Club. And you know what? Just down the street, there probably are 3 different Toastmasters groups that meet in person. And just start going to those. And just like Tom says, you just don't know. You may not want to go, but you don't know when you're going to walk into a room and find someone that you connect with that becomes a friend. And it's time, COVID is kind of over, and it's time for us to take off our masks and leave our rooms and go and meet people in person. And you don't know what you're going to find. There are plenty of opportunities. You live in Santa Monica, there's plenty of places close by to you where you're going to meet some wonderful people. So that's my advice. You have a lot of talents. You've grown so much in the years that I've known you, and you just need to believe in yourself. Okay, I think that's it for time today. I really want to thank Alana, Jeremy, Blake, and Thomas for a really, well, one, for what you do, because it's really, really important. And I know you each are making a difference in the people's lives that you touch. And I want to thank you for being here today and sharing ideas of how people can make their lives better. So with that, please say goodbye to everybody. I always cut people off, but I'd like to give you a chance to say goodbye.